Okay, here we are. We are live with the Gauntlet Hangouts. We're playing Dungeon World. This is our second of 5 sessions, set in the Gaunt Marches, which is a joint GM world. We've got our second group starting this Thursday, so I'm really excited about that. Last we saw our heroes, they were traveling through some kind of scrubland steppes. They had encountered a merchant. They had seen some ligers. They had fought a terror bird. Oh, a snuffleup, I think is what you named it.
Yes, it is.
A snuffleup that one of our characters had summoned from another world just so that he could have its meat. And last we saw them, they were kind of running away from a raid that was happening where the merchants were at. With floating camels, thanks to the magic of one of our other characters. So we'll pick up back up with them in a few minutes. We're going to kind of review keys and then hear from each of our players a wish that they have that they want to see happen this session, whether it be something very specific like a key they want to turn, or if they're just hoping for more action scenes or more face-to-face kind of chatting, just whatever it is that you guys are hoping to see, okay? So we'll go from the character sheet left to right. Let's start with Tyler. If you want to just summarize your keys and then give us your wish for the session.
Certainly. I'm playing Lady Camille Diarin, and everybody calls her Millie. She has the key of Noble. I gain an XP when I refuse an order or a quest beneath me, or when I encounter hardship or pain rather than indignity. I could buy it off if I follow an order that is beneath me, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. I have the key of the Lover. I gain an XP when I fall in love and out again, or when I successfully romance a former foe, and I could buy it off if I fall in love for good, which, who knows. And Key of the Reckless, gain an XP when I act without thinking and things get out of hand, or when a poorly laid plan of mine comes to fruition, somehow benefiting me, but not the others. And I buy it off when I start controlling my instinctual recklessness, which kind of goes to what I'm thinking of for my wish. I'm hoping for, would like to see swashbuckly adventure. I'd like to see us in big swashbuckly action, and maybe even a little romance in there, but a more swashbuckly feel for me.
All right, Ruben, why don't you do the same?
All right, so I am playing as Dreadwind Thorn, an elven eldritch mage, I would say. He has the Key of the Enigma, which is gain 1 XP when you successfully deflect or evade an inquiry into your doings, or when your mysterious nature costs you a friend or ally. Gain 1 XP. Then there's the Key of the Meddler. Gain 1 XP when you use magic to change something tangible in a lasting way, or when your magic is self-perpetuating or contagious. And then there's Key of the Overlord. Gain 1 XP when you force others to respect your magical prowess, or when your magic causes fear and terror amongst a group of innocents. In terms of a wish, I actually don't have one in particular, other than just more drama, more action. I felt like the last session could have used a little more than that. I would say, I guess that wish would include maybe a bigger monster of sorts, because we've had mostly mob monsters and regular bandits.
Cool. Duly noted. I have a chart to roll on for big monsters, so. All right, let's go to Harry.
I am playing Eula, the Amazon Ranger, and I'm accompanied by my 3 palace cats who keep me warm at night. My keys are the Hunter, where I gain experience for locating a creature I'm tracking or single-handedly defeating a wild creature of considerable might or cunning. Key of the Stranger, where I get experience for explaining strange beliefs or offending someone important with my strange ways. And the Key of the Tenacious, where I get experience for multiple obstacles to accomplish a personal goal, or being defeated in such a task. What I would like is for Lady Camille to get off her high horse. Actually, what I'd like to see is, it might fit in well with Dreadwinds, some challenge that requires multiple steps. A monster that's tough and gets away and we have to find it, or some sort to come at from multiple angles.
Awesome. So you're looking for a problem that can't be solved with 1 or 2 rolls. You want a little more challenge.
Yes.
Cool. All right, and then let's hear from Adam. Before you go, Adam, I added to the bottom of your moves just a summary of the contracts that I remember you having. Is it just the 2?
Yeah, I think that's
okay.
all I know. Yep.
Perfect. I just thought it was worth noting so I don't forget what they are. All right, go ahead.
I forgot about the paying back one. I thought that was just circumstantial, but I like it. So yes, I'm playing Rukao Uktashkula, Tiger Blood Hobgoblin. And he is an expansionist, always wanting to encourage his friends and non-friends to exceed their boundaries and push to the next limit, or guide a group, faction, or township to do the same. Key of the Ringleader, when you take the lead in a difficult situation or when someone takes your advice and it actually pays off. And Key of the Contender, when you face an equal in combat or more than your life is at stake, or when a foe is more skilled than you, or you are severely injured and you overcome anyway. And I think I would like to be aware of dangerous foes, like others have said, but I'm particularly interested in sentient foes, but monsters would do as well.
Awesome. So it sounds like you're kind of looking for the opportunity to fight somebody one-on-one and gain honor that way, right?
Yep, and any way that I could actually stake claims on land, but I don't know if that's really feasible.
It very well could be. We'll see. Cool. Well, thank you guys for that input. That'll help guide our session. Again, a reminder, I like a very writer's room style. If at any point like you feel like we're down in the weeds or you want to frame up a scene, just holler. I'm more than happy to accommodate and let everybody frame up whatever they're most interested in seeing, because we're watching a TV show together is how I think of it. So, all right. Before we get into where we saw the heroes last, I want to do a couple of very simple flashback scenes. One that I'm interested in seeing is the meeting of Millie and Rukao. So maybe not necessarily the moment that you met, but maybe somewhere in the time where you guys were figuring out that you wanted to go on adventures together and so forth. Just, yeah. Either of you are welcome to frame that up, but I'm just interested to hear a little bit more about your backstory.
What you thinking, Adam? Go ahead.
Were you going to say something? I thought you asked me.
Yeah, what are you thinking?
Okay, I think since Millie is interested in proving herself as capable and dangerous, she would know at a glance that most hobgoblins are that way. So she could have sidled into any task where he was doing that pretty much just for the glory as well. And also, since he is technically a ringleader in spirit, but she likes to follow her own poorly laid plans, he probably gave her the reins on some task that he was going to do, and it probably didn't go great. But but who knows?
I like the idea that there is some true affection. We are comrades in arms, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So was there a danger you guys encountered on your way to the marches? Maybe going from Eelton through the swamp? Was there something that you encountered that kind of solidified you guys as battle brothers, so to speak?
Yeah. So I think Rukao probably enjoys setting her challenges that she can prove herself capable of, even especially when they're like beneath you, because that's just fun to rile you up. So there was probably some kind of like, I don't know what. The swamp is full of dirty stuff. So I don't know. I can't think of a specific.
I can see where, like, you stick me in the lead when we're going through the worst of the swamps, and to kind of always thwart a little bit of the, you would set me through the swamps and I would lay down this path with the whip where I got to rise above it. And you'd have me,
Right.
get into the fight. I start being, the bloodier back end of it and somehow try to manage to come out of that. And each time as we're going along, we step each other up one more step till maybe we encounter something that is actually really dangerous and awful.
How about, can we say there's a shrine in the swamp and we basically just made a bet who could pilfer the idol first? And then neither of us probably did, or maybe we did, I don't know, and something made us run away with grins on our faces.
I like that thought, yeah. Through the hardships and then us escaping by the skin of our teeth, but because we've worked together, right?
Right.
Cooperating to work.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, maybe we see like Millie grabs this idol with her whip right as Rukao's just about to grab it, and then as soon as it leaves the idol, like some kind of ambush or a trap goes off, and they're just both like, "Oh crap!" Drop the idol and go.
Yeah.
I actually have an image of like Rukao just like is just getting to the temple, and then he finds himself in like the most basic trap where he just gets his ankle pulled up to the tree, and then he hears next to him like just someone else gets pulled up, and then they just look at each other, and then they each just like think for a moment about how stupid this is, and then they just cut each other's ropes down and walk on their way.
Wait, yeah.
Throw me the idol, I'll throw you the whip.
All right,
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's look at our other two characters, because you guys kind of came as a pair into the marches as well. I think you said you had met in the swamp. Is that right, Eula? I know Eula was kind of looking to Dreadwin as like a possible way to find this oracle that was lost. But Dreadwin, why do you put up with Eula? Like, what benefit is she to you? Can we have a scene, maybe you guys talking or just describing what happened there?
Mm-hmm.
I have an idea. If you are to go with it. You have an idea?
Go ahead, Harry. You're kind of choppy, so.
I'm having trouble hearing you too. I was hoping that the problem wasn't on my end.
Uh-oh.
The way I saw it, and this is, I can understand if you wouldn't want this, so this is just an idea. But I imagined it as a really bleak swamp. And there, even for an experienced hunter like Eula, the food situation was getting dire. When all of a sudden she picked up a track of someone, a human, sort of stumbling a little bit. Maybe they're injured, and she hunts not too long until she finds a man stumbling through the swamp, and she's actually planning on hunting you for food. Mm-hmm. When you turn around with your blank eyes, and all of a sudden Eula falls to her knees, because you're not, I would never say you're like a vision of the oracle, but you have this thing in common with the oracle, and Eula's taken it as a sign. Mm-hmm. So Eula's willing to really serve you, because she believes that you are going to lead her to the thing she's looking for. She can hunt, but she thinks that you have something special. So I guess that doesn't really explain why you put up with her, but other than to say that she's willing to go out of her way to help you.
Well, the thing about Dreadwind is that he doesn't have a problem with that at all. He's not, even though he's an elf, one would assume he's very arrogant and sort of high and mighty. A lot of that arrogance was laid low when he summoned his creatures and first encountered them. And so he's sort of just going around looking for adventures to sort of go on with his life in a sense. And even you serving him would actually sort of play into what he's used to, because he used to be in a mage tower where the only people he really interacted with was his own servants. Doesn't really make for good social interactions, hence why he's not very good with people, but this would sort of be a thing for him. And I think he would very much take interest in you and accept you by his side. So I think that's worth playing into as well.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's a pretty interesting bond to explore, especially since we're kind of adding this like almost servant-like layer to it. So cool. Awesome. Thanks, guys. All right. So as we saw our intrepid heroes last time, they were fleeing with fleet of foot and some floating camels being dragged behind them. You guys had bumped into the raiders that raided the camp, but I think scared them off pretty well. So, Millie, how long does this fleet of foot spell that you had cast, how long is it going to last? Are you guys running through the night?
Let me think here. We didn't make it temporary or superficial.
Yeah.
Because I think I rolled it well. So I think it's probably at least going through the march. You know, we'll make a day's or evening's travel with it, and then once we stop to rest, of course, would fade away.
Cool. So yeah, you guys probably make it at least time and a half, if not double time, on that march. So.
And had we determined where we were going? Were we going to a particular town, or were we just getting the frick out of Dodge?
You guys had agreed, well, actually, one of you had agreed to escort Alabab back to his hometown.
That's right.
We could possibly have a little conflict there if the rest of the party is interested in something else. What are you guys thinking?
Because you had done that, hadn't you, Tiger Blood?
Yes. He was going to Alameen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I'm certainly all for, if you've decided that's what we're doing, then I'm certainly going to hold up your end of bargains. I think I even got a little something out of him when we made the bargain with my sellsword bits.
So as long as Alibab's okay with traveling through the dark of night.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, he's got that fleet of foot too. He maybe is even riding one of the camels and floating and having a good old time. So let's say you guys made double time, so we'll count it as 2 days worth of march, and maybe we'll catch up with you at camp so that we have a little bit of time to take a look at that map that Eula had taken. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yep.
Cool. So as far as setting watch goes, let's get a watch order, and then we'll do the scene with this map. I mean, 4 watches. Who wants the first one? Okay.
I can be first. And can we just, let's say, then Dreadwind, because I want to hang out with him, and then Eula can bring up the rear. Okay. Actually, no. Yeah, Millie's at the night, because then she can be awake in the morning, and Eula's probably good in the dead of night.
Perfect.
Dreadwind doesn't rely on his eyes, so the darkness won't impede him. And also, relying on echolocation gives him a sort of 360 vision. So even people who sneak up behind will have much more trouble with it.
Yeah, he sees behind him as well as he does straight in front. I like that.
I should also mention that he makes annoying noises because that's how he gets the. You probably would have gotten over it, but anyone who had met him would have been like, "Please stop!" It's like, I'm sorry, I'm already blind. Do you want me to be in total dark? Just, if like first it would be guilt tripping, then it would be threatening. If neither worked, it would just be dead. But it seems like it works with everyone.
Yeah. So are you like tisking pretty regularly, like a little?
That's exactly what it is. I actually based it off of a real life thing. So
okay,
human
yeah.
echolocation is actually a thing and people do like clicking noises.
Yep. They have an invisibility on it, but we're not going to do podcasts right now. Anyway, so okay, cool. So let's have that map open up, and obviously on it is Alameen, the township. You guys are also going to have that road that you guys have been traveling along. The oasis will be marked on there. I'll add one more location, and then I'll ask you guys to add a location each. I will say this. You're not allowed to add the tomb, so to speak, but you guys can add rooms or whatever comes to mind. So the one other location I'll add is a mesa that juts just straight up into the sky. It's actually pictured on our shared map. I'll pull that up as you guys are talking. But basically, nobody knows what these mesas are about, but there's 5 or 6 of them at different places in the marches. So who has an idea of something else, another location that would be on the map?
So I'd like to put that temple that Millie and I raided, the Temple of Zukat, the ancient Naga.
Cool.
Somewhere out there in the swamp. Zhukot. K-O-T.
Okay.
I always like, since we have the river running by there, say at the that big curve that's underneath the mesa and next to the plain there. I think we've got something that comes off of that mesa, an enormous waterfall that where it hits the edge of the bank, it makes one of those enormous sinkholes, one of those deep drops that then bubbles out and goes down to the river.
Cool. Harry, do you have any ideas, other things that'll be on that map?
I'm thinking of a village. People or things, it's unclear, who worship something. It's hard to translate the word thunder. Maybe it's some sort of sky god. It's hard to say, but it's there's something about the word that implies they are secluded.
I actually have an idea to go off of that, if you don't mind. Since we met each other in the swamp, I think it's fair to say, what if we encountered these people? And they worship the thunder because once every, say, year or so, there would be a strange thunderstorm that happened in the area. And they attribute it to the thunder god that they worship. So they would have a festival once a year when the thunderstorm comes unfailingly on that day.
Cool. I like it.
Cool.
That reminds me of something that I forgot to say I'm interested in this session is discovering what the flash of light was when the bird disappeared. Just putting that out there.
Okay.
It didn't disappear, though. It fell to its death.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Ruben, do you have a location to add here?
Well, I was sort of thinking of the swamp thing, which is why I passed it over to, the other suggestion. how about a monastery in the mountains that is known to be a producer of special healing tonics and strives to perfect the ultimate elixirs of life.
Cool. And so that'll be the mountains on the Alameen side is what you're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool, cool. Love it, guys. So if at any point you guys want to travel to any of those locations, you're welcome to do so. We'll just have the time lapse, so you have to have the right amount of rations and stuff. But those are places that you can get to without fail, no matter what. So cool. So let's do a little bit of a scene here around the campfire. Alabab is like extremely grateful for your help. In fact, he says, as he sees you guys pulling out your rations, and especially probably seeing the smelly rations come out from Dreadwind, he's like, "Oh, please, please, eat from my stores. You guys are helping me out a ton. I wouldn't have made it out of there without you. And can you make the camels so they stay? I don't want to have to tie them down."
To make them float there, or
yeah, because some of them are still like floating off the ground every once in a while.
I will whip crack Blaze so that they settle back to where they're not floating away anymore.
Thank you, dear. That's so kind.
You're very welcome.
Secure them. Keep them off the ground.
Eventually, all magics must. I must rest to maintain, and it is an expenditure.
Speaking of flying creatures, Alabab, have you ever heard of a flying monkey?
Flying monkeys? No, sounds terrible. The things are horrible enough already. They throw their poop, you know.
Oh, are there places with great congregations of such monkeys? Flying or not?
I mean, I do some trading with some people from the tropics, but I don't know for sure. I've seen the monkeys, but I've never seen them in force. They're always in cages, you know.
I see. Yeah.
Eula's staring, muttering about the sky monkey. You can sometimes you can see the monkey in the clouds.
Dredwin pulls out one of his books and says, I've seen, I think, 12 different creatures that may look like flying monkeys if you want to take a look. I've cataloged a picture of them, crude drawing, if you will.
Yeah, that brings up. Would Eula be able to identify? Were you there when the oracle was actually taken, or did you just hear the story from the other tribespeople?
I just heard the story, but the sky monkey isn't something that was unknown to us. It's part of our mythology. The sky monkey, dear Dreadwind, the sky monkey isn't a creature. The sky monkey is a spirit, a lord of the sky. Some people worship the sky monkey.
Jedwin continues flipping through page. Spirits. Okay, I'll look for those. Maybe seven of them. Do you know what the spirit looks like?
Well, it's very big. It's this. Sometimes it's the size of the sky, and sometimes it comes down to the earth, and it's the size of bigger than a cat. But the sky monkey sometimes walks among us and tricks us.
Eula, why did you decide to come this direction? Did your people tell a story that this is the direction the monkey went?
We've all scattered in every direction. We're all looking for the oracle. It was decreed that I come in this direction and follow any path that I find. This one here, the wizard. I believe he is my path.
I'm going to, as you're saying this, I've got kind of blaze in my hand, and I'm just sort of dancing the end of, I usually say him, kind of dancing through the fire. And as I do, I'm going to try and focus some of my energy down in trying to access, you know, that bit of the horizon, the reveal the way forward sort of thing, and see if I can get an image of Sky Monkey and the Oracle, or perhaps the path that leads us there.
Okay, you can do that. Remember, you're at -1 for not having had time to rest yet.
From
the last spell you cast at the end of the
Oh, that's right. That's right.
But yeah, go ahead. Let's see what you can reveal.
All right. I rolled an 11 plus, it goes off of int, so nothing. -1 is a 10, but +1 because it's in my focus.
Cool. So let's see. Yeah, why don't you just tell us what you see? Now, is
all right.
As you're playing with the whip, is this a vision open to everybody, or does it just come to you?
I think it's certainly visible, probably even more clearly to Eula than it is to me. I think as Eula's talking, I'm dancing this in the fire, so that maybe Eula, you start to notice like a picture of a sight of the oracle, and then it's, you know, as the images change and the fire is dancing with the whip moving through it, let's see, with a 10. Cool. I think we begin to look across, kind of as though it's pulling back, and we can see around are these cliffs, and on these cliffs we can see little caves and eyes, and occasionally the shadows of people looking out of them, and perhaps even as you're looking into this, you see one of these shapes move forward and jump out, so that it's almost, you know, like some sort of flying spirit, and you could see above it the stars, and I think it tells us that it's to our west, that it is, by the stars you can see that it is across the plains to the west.
I love that, Tyler. That's awesome. Oh, sorry. I love that, Millie. Eula,
can I add a little bit?
Yeah, I wanna get two things from you. I want to hear Eula's interpretation, and then out of character, I want to hear if Eula's interpretation is true or if that's just what she believes.
Okay. Well, you know, this is all like made of fire. It's this weird, glowing, monochromatic vision of this cliff with these cliff dwellers and embers coming out. See them like eyes of something inside the caves peering out. They're all over the place. And you know, I was talking when this all started happening, and as I start to notice this, my words just drop off, and I'm staring slack-jawed at the fire and the ground. painting this picture, it's pretty clear that this thing coming out. I mean, it's just like that I've heard of the sky monkey. This there's a crown on the monkey, and it for a second it looks at me, and I can see that. Well, I can see the face of the oracle kind of superimposed onto the picture, and it looks like the oracle also makes eye. As soon as she does that, she turns around and looks away as if almost a rejection. That's the way I interpret it, at least. I clutch at my heart, and I don't understand what that means. Am I not to follow her? Did she leave on purpose? Is this not the Sky Mother? Why has the tribe disbanded? And that's when I snap out of it. So, out of character, what do I believe? I think that I have to see for myself what's going on. So, I think probably the vision is true.
Cool.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that did. Awesome.
Could Rukau speak in at this point?
Go for it.
Rukau would stand up when is Eula saying those things out loud, or is that in her mind about the rejection and whatever?
I think there's something about, wait, come back, turn,
Okay.
NTM.
So Rukau stands up and says, I know the thing. The way that we find a spirit that's in the sky. I thought this was a beast until this moment. Forgive me, Eula, for not understanding your true task. But we hobgoblins know how to fetch the spirits to us. The spirits have avatars. You will find the biggest one you can find. We will defeat it, and they will not be able to refuse to send more bigger and bigger foes of their avatars until it has to manifest itself, and we can lay it at our feet and step on its neck and tell us what we want it to do. Tell it what we want it to do. That is my advice. If you seek it or not, that's what you must do.
So you speak of hunting it down.
Well, of course. Getting its attention.
Yes.
I mean, that's virtually as difficult as any other task involved in this vision.
Yes, so you start with the first bite. First step.
Wouldn't it be more convenient to just go to the place where this vision was?
Well, it's not as fun.
But this is a flying spirit that could literally be anywhere in the region. And
yes. That's why you must get it on the ground. You can never fight something that flies.
No, but I mean, it could literally be hundreds of miles away, whereas the vision seems to be much closer by.
I would like to, since I rolled a 10 or better, I chose the things with my spell. I think temporary I took, but I also think it attracted unwanted attention.
Yeah, I was waiting for the roleplay to kind of wrap up because I wanted to see. So I assume it would be Camille who would realize that this has attracted the unwanted attention, if anybody. What happens as this conversation is going on? How do you realize that somebody else is watching now?
I think I see in as the whip is moving, and I have kind of the vision has faded as they're talking, but Blaze is still moving, and you see his tip move up almost like a snake looking into the fire, and I follow back over. And even though I'm no longer putting energy into it, I can see an eye staring back from the fire at me. I think something is looking back at us.
I'm going to take narrative control here for a second. Yeah, so you make eye contact with this eye, and it blinks, but more it feels like a wink, even though there's one eye. It feels like a wink, and the fire kind of flickers, like there's a wind blowing, but there's no wind, you know. And then you guys hear maybe 20 feet away clacking of sticks together, maybe 10 or so people clacking sticks together. And you hear the call. Put down your weapons! Put down your weapons! Her honorableness is here.
So, what does Dreadwind see in his mind's eye as he hears this? Because the clacking of sticks would definitely cue him into who's around there.
Yeah, I'll give that to you. That's good use of the fiction here. So you see those same kind of cow creatures that were being ridden earlier by the bandits, maybe 5 or 6 of them, and some people standing in front of them, and then one person dressed with a big headdress, like, you know, feathers and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what you see.
Mind if I spout lore on what kind of important person that might be?
Sure, yeah.
I'm not gonna have time to pull out books in this scenario, so I'm just gonna do it off the bat.
Yep, go ahead.
That is a 6. That book would have really helped right about now.
Okay. The only impression that you get is you remember the sight of these cow creatures, and so you're pretty sure it's related to the bandits you ran into earlier.
Mm-hmm.
What are the rest of you guys doing as this demand comes to lay down your weapons and prepare to meet her honorableness?
Rukao will stab his spear into the ground, so it's standing up in front of him, like arms reach away, but then retain his shield and move by Alibab, because he's protecting him.
Good thinking, good thinking.
I think I'll stand up with my arms down as Blaze slinks up a tree to hide up in the foliage.
Cool. Any reaction?
Eula, Eula is gonna hope that the flash of her means that she's gone unnoticed so far. She is rolling into the shadows, hiding behind one of the floating, so it provides some cover. She's going to try to move around and behind these things.
Cool. Let's get a defy danger with dexterity from Eula. The rest of you, I don't think we need a roll at this point.
8 plus dex is 2.
Total of 10?
Yep.
Okay. Sweet. Yeah, you get under the legs of some of the camels, and you feel very confident that you slunk quickly and silently. All right, and then steps into the firelight a singular personage. She announced as Gonji Arbon, and I'll paste that in there for you. You may call her Princess Arbon, but she is the leader of this particular tribe of bandits. Sorry, I'm just getting the name pasted in there. All right, so yeah, she's introduced to you all, and she says, "A pleasure to meet all of you." And she looks directly at Alibab, who kind of like cowers now behind the shield, and she says, "Alibab, I thought we were friends. Why are you running away?"
Rukao will size her up for both her potency as well as her status apparent from the outside, because those are important to him. But he'll leave Alibab to talk.
Is that a particular move, or is that just discern realities?
No. I don't know. I guess it's I wasn't thinking of it as anything in particular, but I could discern realities.
Yeah, I think it triggers some playbooks have a particular like size up and
Oh, okay. No.
Go ahead and roll discern realities on the princess.
All right. Whoa, 6, 12, 13.
Sweet. All right. So from the headdress, so something interesting and immediately useful, right?
No,
Oh no,
discern realities isn't
I'm
spelled.
sorry. I've got this backwards. You've got 3 questions. What are they?
If anyone's talking, they're muted.
Oops. Sorry. Okay, so what should I be on the lookout for? Do you want them all right away?
Yeah, at least give me the next one.
What should I be on the lookout for? What is about to happen? And then what here is not as it appears to be would be what I would do.
Okay. So what you need to be on the lookout for is she's just let's see. She's here to take payment from Alibab. She thinks that he owes her because typically when she does a raid, his tent doesn't. He gives a chest whatever valuables he has. But he looted her this time. She's very, so that kind of answers what to be on the lookout for and what's about to happen. Then you also asked what's
what is not what it appears to be.
What not appears to be. You know, I think these raiders appear to be just what they are. She seems to be some kind of nobility. They seem to be armed and mounted, and there's nothing mystical or magical or otherwise about them. So,
okay.
I want to ask Camille, what do you see on the princess that piques your interest? What is particularly attractive? Even though she's kind of savage looking, what is it that interests you about her?
Have we heard anything about this tomb of Eli other than just that it's there?
Not in our fiction. If you want to say that there's been some rumors, we can run.
How about this? She has a pendant on, and I recognize on that pendant, it looks quite old, kind of a disc, but it has the royal seal of the family of Eli.
Cool. So she says again, Alibab, I don't like having to ask twice. I see your friends here are good company. We'd hate for anything to happen to them. And at that, a couple of the men she's with step forward, or the elves she's with step forward into the light. So, Alibab, are you going to give us the chest, or I'm going to have to call more friends?
I'm cutting my eyes over towards Tiger Blood in that look we probably exchanged before of, are we killing them now or later sort of thing.
Does anybody else want to jump in if anyone else wants to do anything? But Rukao will speak up and clear his throat and say, Alibab has paid new racketeers.
Oh, so it is that I'm going to have to go get more friends. Very well.
You'll definitely need more friends. I want to impress her, but I also want to like beat her.
You know what? Let me, before you answer, I didn't give you a very fair description. You were looking for her build, her physique, her...
Yeah, how fearsome she is. Yeah. I didn't really ask questions about that. But.
Yeah, in a word, badass. I mean, she's short. She's like 5'5", 5'6", but every part of her body is like toned and muscular. She's pretty well dressed, like well covered, I mean, but her arms and her legs that are she's obviously a trained rider. She's been riding all her life, and she has at her side a club. You know those like they're kind of like long, and then it's just got like a big bulb at the end. She's got one of those at her side. So with that information, what did you want to say? You're muted.
Everyone's muted.
I don't know. She would be. I'll do what comes to mind. So Rukao says, "You would definitely need more friends if you hope to take Alibaba. But why make this messy? I can keep my friends' blood in their bodies. You can keep your friends' blood in their bodies, and you and I can face this as equals."
Ooh, that sounds lovely. However, your friends you care about, my friends, and she takes her club and just smacks the one next to her across the face. And he like, oh, he takes it and like he's still holding his face when he looks back. My friends, I could care less for. And she starts walking backwards, and the other, you know, what did I say, Ruben? Was it 5 men that I said?
I don't remember. It might have been 5. You never told.
I
don't think you said the number when I asked the mind's eye thing, but you said originally. I just didn't remember.
Okay, yeah. So about 5 men kind of step between you and her, spears pointed towards you guys, and they start walking backwards with her.
Can I just say something? So at this point, everyone's been sort of still, but he just starts laughing. Like it starts off like low, just very low. It's like. And then it just rises into a maniacal laughter. And
Ruben's kind of or was kind of friend.
He says, "You don't care about them, you say. I think you should look closer where you hit that one." And his red eye starts to glow.
Cool. Yeah. What do you do with this guy's face?
I'm going to affect all of them. Like this is going to be a mass infection kind of deal. And it's just going to start with this guy and start like sort of, this is going to be the focus alignment is going to be corrupt the innocent.
Okay. I'm going to say to be able to affect all of them, you're going to need a full success. And it's going to put a little more weight. If there's a failure here, it's going to put a little, I'm going to hit it a little harder because you're having a pretty big ask here.
All right, if that's the case, I might just bulk this one guy out into a horror.
Cool.
So in that case, this is going to be going really badly or really badly. Questions for who? That's a full 10. 8 plus 2.
So is it like a tentacle that's coming out of this wound, or what?
So you see the wound, and then you just like see it just sort of like blistering and just start pussing, and things just start coming out. The man just starts screaming as his like whole face is just consumed, and everything just starts like becoming bulbous and just growing and growing and growing until he's just a mass of like purple stretched out skin. And then just when like everyone's just backing away, it just bursts out, explodes, like, and then underneath it is just like this beast that's a mix of his skeleton and growing and all the organs smushed around him, except their organs are shaped like armor, but they're all still being like his heart is beating on there, his liver is still pumping out. Everything is functioning, and this skeleton just shrieks out his cry as he was being infected by it.
Cool. All right, so she starts running. You know, as soon as he's like starting to blow up, and probably about the time he lets out this roar, his buddy next to him just like stabs him in the face, and then immediately claw, smash. dead. So this beast is something else that you've created. So what are all of you guys doing now? We had somebody sneaking around. You've got the drop on the situation whenever you want to interject. Okay, Eula?
Yeah, but they're running away now, right?
Yeah, she is, and the one's dead, one's transformed into a monstrosity, and there's 3 more guards that are kind of near the monstrosity.
Yeah, the monster also would be like really vengeful towards her for what it's done to her, what's done to him. You feel like this is all your fault kind of deal.
Yeah, you just replaying that over and over in his mind. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Eula.
In that case, I'm gonna stop her. I've got my bow out. I'm tracking her as she runs like a coward, and I say, "Oh, sister, I'm sorry to do this to you, but you've made a bad mistake." Twang! And I'm shooting right at her. I guess her calf to trip her up, slow her down, and let this thing catch her. So that's a cold shot. I rolled a 9. I think it's Dex that I add. Let's see. When you roll
you're supposed to say what you shoot beforehand. Cold shot.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. Sorry, I misheard. My bad.
Yeah, so it's a total of 11. 10 or more, they're hobbled, and I do damage.
Awesome. Let's see how much damage you do.
So looks like 5 damage.
Okay.
And they're hobbled. She's hobbled.
Yeah.
Poor princess.
She's probably right at the edge of the firelight, so maybe Dreadwind and Eula have like full idea of what's going on, but the other 2 of you may not be quite sure what's happening with her. What are the 2 of you up to as this transformation and everything's kind of happening all at once?
Rukal will say to those that are trying to flee with her, "You travel with an infection like this abomination, and you serve a princess that doesn't respect you. Stand and fight this abomination and prove yourselves to me as worthy men and women." And so I will try to use commanding presence because they're smaller than me and lower status.
Beautiful. Let's hear it. Or let's see the roll.
Uh, 6, and I get XP. So right. It's just a 6. Yeah, just a 6.
Cool. I'm going to hold on to that for 1 second. Let's hear what Millie's doing, because I don't want to jump too far forward in time since it's really on top of itself.
All right, so we have one of them that's been transformed into a horrible beast and is raging towards Princess, who's now been shot in the leg and is hobbling. We've got the other 4 who probably have not listened to a speech saying you should stand up to this and fight. What are they armed with?
Spears and several spears. They look more like throwing spears than they do like a proper hand-to-hand fighting spear.
All right. Well, it seems like all the fun's beginning, and I hate to be left out. So I think I'm going to. It seems like it would be rude of me to not let Tiger Blood go and beat her up. That's, I know how he gets. So it's much better for me to handle these lesser creatures. And so I'll leap up, probably kind of one of those, martial arts leap ups. And as I come across leading forward, my hand empty, I'll yell out, "Blaze to me!" And as I swing my arm, it appears in my hand and it whips across and attempts to wrap around the neck of one of these as I yank back and hopefully do horrible things to him. Just horrible things.
Sweet. Is that a specific move, or is that hack and slash?
That sounds like a hack and slash, probably. Alrighty. Ugh. 5, 6, 7.
Just enough. All right, so I'll kind of describe the last two moves happening simultaneously. So he gives out that speech, and one of the guys thinks about it. He's like, you know, that does make a little bit of sense. And right at that moment, Millie wraps him around the neck and yanks him face down into the ground. How much damage did you do?
Let's see. Ugh, I'm still doing horrid damage. 3.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough. So he's got a little bit of armor, so it's not too much damage that you've done, but he's face down on the ground. You got an advantage there. The other two start running to try and help the princess up. One of them gets another spear into the back of this creature and draws his attention, and the other starts like, army man helping her to the beasts to ride away. You guys probably have a few more moments before they're up and mounted. They're skilled on these creatures, and so it's like a second, it's like another limb to them getting on and riding off. So what are you guys doing are you trying to stop her escape specifically, or what's the goal here?
Yeah, Dreadwin's thinking about infecting these beasts with the little parasites here and there. Like, all this is going to turn against them. Their escape, their own soldiers. He is going to drown out all the hope they had for victory.
Okay, so is this a cast a spell and you're trying to do multiple targets again? Is that right?
You know what? Yeah, but it's more animals than anything. Okay.
So now just so I get a complete picture, so you're trying to make the animals like lose their nerve and run, or what's the exact idea here?
I might just go the extra mile and make them go feral. So
turn on the princess and their...
Yeah, like they start foaming at the mouth and start going crazy.
Okay. Yeah, we could do that. Again, since you're trying to do, there's 5 of these beasts. If you're trying to do all 5 of them, we'll do that same big risk, big reward kind of thing with your roll here. Is that what you want?
This time I think I will, but will it have to be a full success to like affect all of them?
Yeah, I'm thinking with a partial success, you'll get probably one of them to lose its mind, and with a full success, we'll let you infect all of them, and we'll still play around with the other, the other costs that are involved with this spell.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that is a 13.
Sweet. So what costs do you want? You can pick 2, or I'll pick 1.
I'll let you pick 1.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna say, so give us the description of what this does to those 5 beasts, and then I'm gonna make it do more than that. So let's see what you had in mind.
So as the princess and her servant is sort of hobbling towards the beast, they sort of see holes start appearing in the beast's sides, and the beast sort of start like just perk up and just start foaming and roaring and just trampling all over the place, like running in circles before they all just like start charging towards.
Cool. Yeah. So it's like they're kind of like losing their minds, banging into each other. The princess and her aide are not going to be able to get onto these things as they are. And then you see their horns start even elongating further and like bursting out, and their skulls like rip out of their flesh, and they have like these half skull, half fleshy faces. and they even like start growing bigger. And instead of hooves, they've got claws suddenly. And what are the rest of you guys doing? So as a reminder, we've got those crazy beasts stampeding. We've got another horror finishing off pretty much the last aid, and then we've got one guy next to the princess. You guys have a bunch of eldritch horrors of sorts to deal with right now too.
If I may, and Tiger Blood, this may set you up a little, since she's only really able to escape well with the help of someone. I think after I've got my whip wrapped around his neck, but I'm moving forward, so I'm trying to close a little that distance. I have reach on my weapon. So we see Blaze just sort of unwrap from his neck as I whip around to catch that aid by the ankle. And it, hopefully, I'm not sure what I'll need to, if I'll need to roll, but I whip it around his ankle, and it looks like it isn't going to hurt at all. And he suddenly goes completely motionless as I put him into stasis.
Yeah, I think it'll be a Defy Danger with Dex just to get that precise
Okay.
hit on. But yeah, it'll happen as you say if it hits.
That's a 10.
Sweet. Yeah, so he just freezes. So does he like kind of glow? Is he like in another dimension? What is this?
I think that there is, we can see that energy coming down my hand and down the whip, and as it wrapped around him, we saw it spread up his body till he's sort of just encased, and he is, at the moment, unable to be hurt or do anything at all. He is stasis in time, sealed away.
Cool. All right, let's hear from Eula or Rukau. Which of you have an idea what you want to do next?
I can go. Rukau would leave his shield with Alibab and like get it over him. It's kind of big. And so then he would go fetch his spear from the ground, and it's also with reach. So he would basically address the big abomination thug, like a Bronze Age kind of phalanx by himself, I guess. So keeping it at bay as much as he can while allowing the other guys to try to fight it and probably just suffer from it. But he'll knock guys around into each other, so kind of like stew the melee and then stab it when he can. But also he's trying to just destroy any armor or vital organs that are available and vulnerable on the outsides. And it's really probably gory and nasty because he's forceful with his weapon.
Cool. It's literally all the organs are available on the outside.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so string some intestines along and splatter the spleen, you know.
Also, you're not just going to let it kill the princess? Oh, that's a shame.
No. Don't want things to get too much more out of hand because there's more monsters probably heading this way in the form of those camels.
So it sounds like hack and slash with the beast. To me.
Do you want me to do that now, or do you want to hear from
Yeah, let's have that and let's see what it looks like.
Okay. So that I think I re-rolled. It's hard to tell. So that's a 5 plus a 2, so 7.
Cool. So yeah, just give us the description of like the blows it gets on you and the blows you get back to it. I want to see the epicness of this fight.
So yeah, probably I'd keep it at bay in a while and let them fight each other, but then they don't really want to let me do that to them and put their lives at risk. And so Rukau is kind of chuckling at them fighting each other until something bursts and splatters him with a bunch of stuff that starts to sizzle. And then he remembers what got under his armor last time, and he feels sick again, and he starts to get green on his face. And then as he's distracted, a big fist kind of punches him in the side, but then he whips his spear around and like clocks it out of the way and then stabs it into the side ribs, I guess, of it, and like spins around and starts circling and stuff.
Sweet. So let's get a D8 of damage from him, with 1 piercing, and then go ahead and roll your damage as well.
So D8 from the monster guy?
Yep, with 1 piercing for its claw.
Okay, 8 on both, so +1 from me, and I only have 2 armor. So 7 damage to me and 9 damage to him. Forceful, messy. So yeah, I could, I don't know, try to knock him down to the ground, I guess.
Yeah, if you want to knock him to the ground, I'll even let you, if you want to like sever one of his limbs, you can do that with that amount of damage.
Yeah, I mean, just bursting all of its kind of organs.
Okay,
Just trying to,
generally weakened overall.
yeah.
Cool.
I guess, yeah, maybe cut off its head with a spear. I don't know how. Skewered through its head, but then its brain's not there anymore. So it kept going.
Yeah. Yes, it's just like a big hole here, but its jaws still moving and stuff.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Eula, you've been biding your time watching the melee happen, watching this princess nearly get trampled. What are you doing?
Well, at first I was planning on attacking the abomination, but I can see that Rukau has it well in hand. So I'm still hiding behind the camel. I jump up onto the back of the camel while doing my war cry. Whip out the arrow, and this isn't fair. The princess needs a fighting chance. These abominations that Dreadwind has created, there are too many of them. I've got to knock off one of these cows.
Cool. So just probably
yeah. So that is a 5 + 2 is 7.
Sweet.
Uh-oh, that could be bad.
So you want to expend ammo, put yourself in a bad spot?
I think I got a little too close.
Okay. So yeah, you hit one of the cows. How much damage do you do to it?
I do. Let's see. 7.
Sweet. Let's say you hit it right in the eye, and it just goes down. So one cow out of 5 down, but another one leaps like over its carcass and just charging at you on top of the camel. All right.
Bearing down on me.
I'm thinking let's do a kind of a close-in shot of the princess. She's looking horrified. She's got a friend next to her who like just can't move. The hooves just keep on going like right next to her head. I'm gonna let you guys writers room this. Do you want her to get trampled, or do you want to talk to her? What's more interesting?
Rukau would like her to, or I guess as Adam would like to not see her die right now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to see her humiliated.
I may have summoned the horrors, but I have to agree the more interesting outcome would be for her not to die.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's looking horrified.
Could we actually? Oh, yeah. You might be about to do this, but I would love to see her be badass in some way.
That's exactly what I was just going to do. Yeah, so one of these hoof claws goes over her, and she just like yanks it, and like, and the cow's down on its side, and she's immediately on top of it with the club. 2 cows down, 3 to go. And she's like standing on top of the carcass for a few moments, and she lets out her own war cry. So, what do you? Let's see. I think probably we've got Camille is holding on to this guy in stasis. Do you need to hold on to him as long as you want him in stasis, or are you going to let him go? What's the plan there?
I intend to, as I'm heading, I'm going to keep walking over towards her with him in stasis, and I'm going to. My intent is, since he's there with his ankle wrapped, I'm going to, as I walk by, release the stasis. At the same time, I drop my whip down onto where it is on his ankle, and it suddenly becomes 10 weight.
That is a brilliant way to kill this man. Yeah, it just like the rest of you seeing it looks strange because it's the same size, but it just like crushes his body. and he's like screaming in agony. He's not dead yet, but he's going to be dead momentarily. Let's see what. Let's cut back to this fight with the monstrosity. Rukau, what are you up to? And Dreadwin, if you want to jump in and aid or anything, feel free. But let's hear what Rukau's doing.
I guess continue fighting it. I'll be taking the throwing spears from the after stabbing it in the head. Maybe I'll just like wedge my spear in the rock and then fetch theirs from a bunch of their fallen guys and just like pepper it, kind of like a matador, I guess. While it's kind of at the end of the leash of my spear that's still stuck in it. So it's kind of tearing itself at its own wounds, I guess. And trying to avoid its blows, so that there's like big smashing rocks flying up everywhere and nasty pus going everywhere.
I'm trying to think of what I want to call that intelligence, but I don't want to give you a -1 for something that cool. Should we just call it volley? Like kind of because you're dancing around with him and hitting him with spears every chance you get.
I suppose it's not really my style, but yeah, it's what I described. So I think either of those doesn't matter to me. You can go with intelligence. I like the XP.
Let's go with
or can I describe it more matadorly, where I'll just stand there and wait for it and like yell at it and like and like wait for it to come to me and then dodge right out of the way and try to get it. So a bit more of the charisma.
Yeah, I was even thinking constitution. Yeah, charisma. Let's go with charisma. That sounds good. Because you are making a show out of this.
So defy danger, charisma. Okay. Wow. 13.
13. Sweet. Go ahead and deal your damage to it.
So that'd be either 6 or 7 if my spear counts.
Yeah, you involved your spear in the fiction.
So yeah, 7.
Cool.
Forceful, messy.
You're going to be able to let us see the final blow of this Matador tournament.
Gosh, there's probably just fluids everywhere. And with the last one, I dodged just barely, and it swings by, and then I just like stick 2 little throwing javelins up through the center of it, and just like tear it in half, I guess, because it was weakened from all the like instability, I guess. So yeah, Rukau stands up through this gore and then kind of comes to his senses a little bit.
Sweet. Let's take a look. So there was one of these bulls running at Eula. Now Eula or Dreadwin, I think, will have the opportunity to take an action here. What are you guys thinking between the two of you?
Oh no, Dreadwin is just gonna. I'm sorry. Dreadwin is just gonna pull out his book that catalogs these creatures and sit down on a nearby log and start writing in there. He's really interested in the fact that some of these enhanced demonic, almost like camels, and he's getting to work while everyone else is busy.
Cool.
He'll chime in if he needs to.
Well, Eula, you've got a bull creature running straight at you. You're on top of a camel, if I remember right. What are you doing?
Yep, that's right. So I'm a little bit above this bull thing, even though it's tall. I'm a little bit taller, and I'm just staring it down as it charges toward me, glaring at its red eyes. And when it gets to 3 feet, 4 feet from me, 5 feet, I leap off of the camel onto the back of the thing, whip around, say a little prayer for it, and put arrows into the back of its skull. Poor thing once was a natural animal.
Dexterity, I think, is the best.
That's in the modifier.
What was the total?
12.
12. Sweet. Yeah, let's go ahead and deal your damage twice, because you're like right in its weak spot. So roll your damage die twice, and we'll see if you finish it off.
Let's see. That's a 3 and an 8. 11.
Yeah. So with the second arrow going in, it crashes through that camel, poor camel, and all the goods that it was carrying fly everywhere. But you kind of, I see it like Legolas style, like you surf and then just like land hero pose in front of it. Does that sound cool?
Yep.
All right. So we've got two cows left. I think one is going to begin to charge at Lady Camille, and the other one's going to start charging at Dreadwin. So those of you who are closest are probably Rukau and Lady Camille. What are you guys doing?
I love that as Camille will kind of look around and realize that we have this princess and some elves to fight. But it seems like, in fact, our mage has created the majority of the enemies we're killing.
Yeah.
It's something that seems to have become a habit. Perhaps clicking on that key there. But as this cow's coming forward towards me, and I'm guessing the princess is sort of laughing that this thing's charging me, I'm going to attempt to just do a full roll to get out of its way. Again, rolling closer towards her. I'm trying to get into range of being able to get her. But yeah, I'm trying to close distance by dodging.
Sweet. Let's see a Defy Danger with Dex.
Alrighty. It's the same roll. I always hate when that happens. I'm going to re-roll that again. I don't think that rolled. And that would have been a 10. That feels bad. So a 9.
Cool. All right. So, yeah, you'll be able to dodge the cow. I think maybe the consequence is you get a little too close. She's going to get a free swing on you.
Alrighty.
And she hits hard. It's going to be a D10 worth of damage.
She being the cow or Princess Gandhi Arban?
The princess, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to re-roll somebody's 10. Oof, that's 8. And she whacks me a good one.
Dirty fighting.
Let's get the fiction. Where does she hit you? What does it feel like?
What's she armed with? She's just bare-fisted still?
She's got that, like, short club. I like that.
Right. I think that probably I had to dive a bit too far to get over there. So as I kind of roll over to get up to her, she swings around and catches me a good solid whack across the head. And we see me probably do the full Rocky spit as I kind of and stagger back and look back across at her. And I'm pretty pissed, but I spit out blood.
Yeah, and she says to you, "You guys are messed up. You know, all I wanted was a chest of gold." And she starts kind of like stalking towards you. Dreadwin, do you notice the beast charging at you?
Oh, definitely. It would definitely be making, like, just pounding at the ground, and I would notice. And Dreadwin quickly puts away his special pen, closes the book, simply thinks to himself, some things just need to be reminded. And his eyes starts glowing again. And he's going to try to command the parasites that are inside the creature to redirect it towards the princess.
Okay, sounds good. Let's see that roll.
That is a 9, which plus 2 is 10.
Oh, nice.
That is like 3 successes in a row. That's pretty good so far.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it starts barreling towards you, and maybe inches from making contact, it kind of like makes a real hard turn, kicks up the dust in your face. I imagine you're probably looking still like very serene, like you expected this to happen, right?
Yeah.
And it makes a hard turn. I think though it's headed towards the princess, but I'm thinking that it's going to be in its way as Rukau. Now, Rukau, you just finished defeating this creature. You're screaming at the top of your lungs in celebration, and then this cow is barreling through you to the princess. What do you do?
I was about to try to fetch my shield and protect Dreadwind because he didn't immediately act like he was in a battle, but he took care of it, and now it's headed towards me and the princess. And I will look back at the princess doing dirty fighting with Millie. And are there any shields that anybody else had around, or is that not something that they had?
I don't think they had. I mean, if you've got a cool thing, we could say they had like a wooden shield or something.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just like dash over and slide and pick up one of their dumb little wooden shields and like scornfully look at it, and then basically yell at the top of my lungs, "Dreadwin, you are a great and terrible mage!" And then he gives him a wink from across the way as he's running over to the princess, and then he's going to like plant the shield with his foot behind it right in front of her, and like then give her a wink, and then as the cow thing comes up, like hoist it up over so it flips and hopefully hurts itself, or at least doesn't trample them all.
Cool. So it sounds like you're standing in her defense then, huh?
Yeah, I
Sounds
suppose.
Great. Let's see a defend roll there.
And I get a +1 to the roll and to my armor in doing so from sacrifice hobgoblin move. What does sick do?
It's -1 to your constitution. You've had time to drink that antitoxin though, so if you want to,
that would cure it.
Antitoxin. Yeah, sorry, I kind of brushed over the beginning. I was meant to ask.
That's okay. So that would be a 5 plus a 6 plus a 1 from sacrifice. So that's barely just enough, and to get a 7.
Cool. So you can redirect the attack. You can half the damage. What?
Can I? Is one of the options open someone else to an attack?
Yeah, you can open it to an attack.
I mean, if it's gonna hit the princess, then I'll take it to myself. No, I'll just have the damage against the original target, whatever that would do.
Okay.
The damage.
Yeah, I'm seeing how it's...
No. I'll redirect it to myself. You got to be impressive.
Okay. So you're going to take the full brunt of it. That sounds good.
Yep.
Cool.
But I have +1 armor from my move, so...
Let's do it how you described, and I think its horns are going to hit full on that shield, and you're going to be able to flip it over. The shield probably shatters because it's just a cheap one, right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Go ahead and take I'm trying to think. It's probably a D10. It's full on charging. It's got massive horns.
Okay. And
Ruben, you keep on making me make monsters on the spot. I have stats for other things, you know. I have.
I had planned to summon another monster entirely different from this one beforehand. I did not expect this to happen. That's on you, man, for making these beefed up, roided camels.
No, it's
I
awesome.
did not plan for that.
It's awesome. So I rolled a 1, so that's a -2 damage.
Sweet, yeah. Sweet. So I think we're going to focus in on the princess again. She sees this. She's a little bit in awe, and she's gonna jump on top of it and do the same move as she did before. Crack, crack, crack. Even though it's like deformed, she knows how to kill these things. She grew up on them, right? It's gone. It's dead. I think that's all of them. Or do we have one loose cow still?
I think that was all.
I think that was the last one. So we've got the guy over by the fireplace that Millie had wrapped up, and he's been like running. He's long gone unless you guys want to hunt him down. And the princess standing there, she turns and throws her club on the ground, and she says, "Happy?"
I believe we get to have a visit now, a more cordial acquaintance than your thuggishness earlier.
She hisses at Dreadwin, and she says, "Yes, I suppose." And yeah, she'll comply. Are you guys going to sit down and interrogate her? What's the plan?
So she has surrendered, right? It seems. I'm going to, as she surrenders, because she's a surrendered foe, I'm going to kind of reach up and blaze appear in my hand and whip across and grab that pendant with the tip of it and pull it back to me.
Nice. Go ahead and add that to your inventory. However you want to describe it is fine.
I guess Rukao would haul her back to the fire, and then on the way, basically point at her hobbled leg and the arrow sticking out, and say, "You've got something sticking out there. Might want to have that fixed."
You haven't tied her up at all, right?
Yeah, Rukao will just hold her, like arms behind her back.
Okay. Yeah, she'll say, if you let me reach my pouch, it won't be a problem. I've had much worse.
Not quite yet. Alabab, do you have any business with this lady now that she's no longer backed by hoodlums? Anybody else have anything to say to the princess?
Whom are you the princess of?
The Zarutu, the most noble tribe of these lands. We claim them, we own them, we run them. And we run all the people who are here, mostly.
Reminds me of back home.
You also take from families innocence.
Nobody's innocent. Is that what you tell yourself when you fired an arrow into my leg? Is that my innocence was lost and so I was deserving of an arrow, but you were doing it in self-defense and so, oh, this is a noble and honorable thing.
Yeah, basically.
I'm up behind her. I grab her hair. I'm imagining she's got long, sort of tribal hair.
Yeah.
I don't know. My knife is out and I've cut her long hair off. The big ponytail is off. As a trophy, perhaps it will teach you a lesson. Taking from helpless people, now you know what it feels like.
Yeah, she spits at your feet and she says, the only people who are helpless are you. I have an entire tribe behind me. You think you can really get to the safety of Alameen with me not showing back up at camp?
Is that a challenge? Everyone slowly raises his head from his book.
I won't talk to this one.
Oh, you should. He's a great and powerful mage. Great and terrible, and can do wonderful things for your face.
Listen, I can tell the girl over here with the whip likes her fancy things. What say we cut a deal? We pay a ransom. I go free. We promise not to kill you on your way to Alameen.
What good is your promise?
And with him saying that, I'm going to get that sort of glazed, starry bit to my eyes, as I'm going to try and read her thoughts to see if she's being honest here with that.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's have you roll cast a spell.
It's not cast a spell. This is coming off of my racial talent.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for reminding me. Your racial talent and your spell focus align so well. Cool. Let me read through that text real quick to make sure I remember exactly how it works. Okay, so you're touching into another realm and asking them to kind of report on her.
Yeah, to read or affect someone's mind. So
Okay.
I'm trying to get in there, see if she's being sincere, and maybe even implant that idea of, this is what noble people do, is keep their word, sort of thing.
Yeah, let's see that. Born of Dreams is the move.
I did not do well. That is a 4.
I'll give you a glimpse into her mind. It shows.
Wait. I may be able to aid with that.
Okay,
Can you get me 3?
You're at a 4. He's at a 4 anyways, though, right?
A 4 plus 2, isn't it?
No. It's going off my intelligence, so it's 0, I believe.
Oh, okay. My bad. I thought you had something else. All right. Scratch that.
Yeah. I'm just screwed. I will not succeed there.
Yeah. So the one thing you see a flash of her and some of her warriors sitting kind of on a ridge and watching a group of people with 5 camels. No, you guys used to have 6, but a group of people with 5 camels walk into Alameen, and that's all you get from it. And then I'll kind of reveal when it makes sense the bad stuff from that.
Technicalities, is it? All right.
I don't trust her. I say we take her to Alameen and let them deal with her. I'm sure they have many years of best.
You look like you know the ways of the wild. You know that anybody can be tracked. Nonetheless, with 5 camels and this pig, she points over to Alabab, this pig with you, my people will find you. It's probably by first light. You're not going to make it to the town.
I'm curious. I'm not necessarily worried about whether we'll make it or not, but I'm curious. Princess Ganji, is a Zarutu one of those that supposedly turned to sand in the noose recently? Is that one of yours?
Yes, it was one of mine.
Is that the first time? Are you comfortable with this?
What do I get if I talk?
Yeah, your life? I'm working for this guy. He can tell me what to do.
Are you pointing at Alabab?
Yeah.
She looks at Alabab and he says, whatever he says. So
I'm splattered with a bunch of blood and stuff too. So.
So it sounds like, just to make sure, so you're saying if she gives you information, you'll let her go back to her people?
Uh,
I think this is going to be a parley.
Yeah, sure. The promise of free passage and all that stuff makes sense. If she knows anything good. If it's anything we don't already know.
Well, you've got as good a charisma as anybody. Parlay it up, buddy.
I do have a question about... Oh, sorry, I was supposed to roll. I have a question, writer's room style. Does Millie have any interest in turning the key of romancing a former foe, or is it too soon?
It'd be too soon in this encounter, but I would... That's a neat concept there somewhere down the road. That's a lovely concept.
Yeah. Well, so it's still writer's room. I was kind of thinking, Tyler, maybe Millie would be interested seeing a noble walk into her midst, but
it's noble. But yeah, I do like the idea of, yeah, I wouldn't mind us running into her again, and that could certainly turn the key. It feels like we're not planning on killing her right here anyway.
Cool.
Yeah. So it was mostly a buff on Rukao's part as far as threatening death. He's always got a grin these days. He's just splattered in blood. But I rolled a 10 with charisma. A 9 plus 1 is 10.
Sweet. Yeah, so she'll take your deal. Okay, so the whole sand thing, we've had a few people recently do that, but that's the least concerning part for me. There's a vault one of the only records of my people that's missing scrolls. Now, we don't really do much with them anymore. What's the right word? Literacy? We don't do that. But we keep them because our ancestors give us power for protecting them. And some of them have gone missing. What's the concerning part for me is that the sand thing happened, then the missing, and then more and more sand deaths.
Sounds like someone is reading those using magic from that and then just going on a killing spree.
Now, I can't believe I'm talking to him. You don't understand. It's not magic. It's genealogies. It's family histories. The Zarutu, we used to rule not just this land, but the swamps, the mountains, down to the coasts. We were great people.
I'll hold up that medallion. Was this your family's crest?
One of them, yes. That was from one of the more noble of the houses, the line that I come from.
Dreadwind's going to sort of get up and ask, let me feel that for a second. Yeah, and he sort of grabs it and sort of feels it in his fingers, sort of getting the sense of what it is, because it's so detailed from far away, he wasn't 100% certain, but he can tell from the ridges that it's the same symbol that he's heard of. And he looks at the princess and he says, "You know of the magical nature of sand?"
All I know is that it keeps my people from growing crops, and so we raid.
The magical nature of sand is that it's cyclical. It goes into the mountains, the seas, back and forth, back and forth. The whole history of Prince Eli, it started off with people dying en masse. It started off with him turning to sand. Then it slowed again. And now it speeds up once more. And more so, his history is going missing, as if it's coming to life once more. And with that, he walks back to his log and hands the pendant back to Millie.
Do you have a tomb, a family tomb of this line? Do you know a place where your ancestors lie?
You think I'm going to tell you the most sacred place of my people? You think
If you do, we may be able to stop this deprivation to your people. I can assure you our intent is not particularly to hurt your people, and surely it's better than having them die.
She looks at her leg with the arrow still sticking in it. She looks at the mass of blood and pulp of people that once were hers. And her
We didn't come looking for you.
We care more about your people than you do.
I won't tell you where the tombs are. If that means you're going to kill me now. Get it over with. Otherwise, I'm ready to apply a salve and get on my way.
So Rukal's been holding her arms. He'll release them and turn around and sit her down on a rock, and with a single finger on her forehead, kind of push her down, and then kind of squat in front of her at a distance and say, "I'm going to give you some unsolicited advice. You can do better than this desert and these seas. You, Zarutu, could go further and rule wider. If you didn't, I respect the rule of fear, but you need to show some competence and make a statement. And the first step of that is surrounding yourself with competent people. like these that I've surrounded myself with. We can rid you of this desert, perhaps, if we had access to your tomb, because we are those that are seeking the sky monkey. Yeah, mythological creatures we're going to tie to the earth and stab until they give us what we want. So we can stop your mythological creatures from haunting your deserts, even if you don't care about your people. You, at least, are going to want to eat some things and have fancy finery and have people to rule, because you're nothing if you don't have people to rule. So that's my advice. Take it or leave it. Use your salve.
Yeah, so as she's like breaking the arrow and kind of applying this goo to heal her leg, she says, "You want to prove that you're competent, prove that you guys are masters of mythological creatures. Kill the rat dragon. That's the one danger I can't get rid of in these lands. Kill him, and then we can talk."
Rukao will look around at anybody like he's clueless about a rat dragon, but has anybody else heard of this?
Dreadman's going to pull out some of his books and try to spout lore on this thing.
Meanwhile, Rukao will act like, of course, the rat dragon. Who couldn't kill a rat dragon? It's just a rat, a dragon the size of a rat, probably.
That's a nat 12.
Cool. All right, so the rat dragon, and afterwards, why don't you tell us how you find the information? So it's a dragon-sized rat more than it's a rat-sized dragon, unfortunately. Nice try. It's a massive beast. It sprays green fire, which you probably suspect Dreadwind does not behave precisely like red and orange fire. And it nests in sand, like that's its preferred habitat. And if you find actually its nest, its home, it will be filled with rats. More rats than you would think should live in the entire world. So that's something interesting and immediately useful.
And would this also account for as something sort of a magical nature?
I don't think it's really arcane. I mean, I suppose it does possess some magical abilities. Maybe that's the bit about the green flame, but it's not like an arcane construct or anything.
So could like the information be like what the green flame does, like its effect on creatures? Because I agree with you, that's really the only arcane or magical thing about it. So it's your call. It may not be magical, it may be magical.
Yeah. Rather than just saying it doesn't behave like regular flame. So regular flame burns on the outside. This green flame, it's said when it catches, it burns inward.
So it just eats at the innards of whatever it hits.
Yeah, you know, like regular flame spreads like this, the green flame.
Oh, wow.
Consumes into itself.
That is something. All right.
Cool. So yeah, with that knowledge that he's spouting, she's healed up her leg and she's ready to limp off. Anything else you guys want to say in parting?
So we're finding this tomb on our own, it seems, with or without your help. So yes, that ransom would be mighty handy.
I think we already cut a deal. And she's very boldly going to just start walking.
Well, I'm keeping this. I'll shake her club at her as she goes.
She flips you.
And I'm keeping this. I shake her hair at her.
At
the other finger, she flips both of you off.
It was a pleasure fighting with you.
I would like to say I'm keeping something else because I want to see if she doesn't have a third finger. But, well, sadly, I don't. He just says that out loud and then it ends like, trails off disappointed that he has nothing to say.
So as I imagine, we're all watching her go.
Something.
What?
Millie's got something of hers that she's keeping.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not reminding her of that.
So as we see us watching her go, Rukao will say, I think she's cute.
She doing a pinch.
I'd say she's got her head on straight. I mean, she saw through a lot of that morality bullshit that you guys were spouting.
That's not morality, it's meritocracy.
That too.
Well, at least
Yeah, I approach you, Dreadwin, and stick my finger at your chest. By the way, I have a beef with you. Those cattle had done nothing wrong. There's no reason for you to go and turn them into monsters from hell.
It wasn't
Don't
from
you have
hell.
enough playthings?
Well, you see, I'm glad you asked. The purpose
Look
of this,
closely at your head. Are you sure?
the purpose of summoning these things is experimental. It's not like this was it was kind of the first time I summoned them. I knew their general intent, which was to turn these things feral. So I decided that since it also gives them a sort of demonic appearance, and he pulls out his book and his special pen and starts writing in that, just doesn't finish that sentence.
I look over at Tiger Blood, and just sort of thing, nodding my head like, yeah, great job picking this guy up.
He is great and terrible, and perhaps the way to fight a rat dragon is to make a herd of similar beasts that we can control. I saw him control one of them for at least a moment. At least a moment when it was about to trample him. So the chance is there that we could bring a herd to bear.
He better not try to to control my cats.
Oh, no, I have no interest in your cats. You can keep the lovely ones.
Send him the ugly ones.
Anyway,
Cool. Let's. I know.
are any of you guys gonna? I mean, since you're complaining about all that meat there, any of you want to skin it and eat it? If not, I'll eat it myself.
I think I'll some real food, thanks.
Good thinking. This one wasn't really cooked to perfection, so I would say, good idea. I was a little desperate on that matter.
So Rutka will confer with Millie probably to try to like rehear what he heard from the princess because he was busy being intimidating, and I guess is a little bit writer's room as well. The fact that her scrolls were missing and they can't read them is the clue towards Eli's tomb, whether she wants to give it or not. Correct?
I would think
They weren't just scrolls; they were ancestral history, so like lineage and stuff.
Okay.
someone
And that
being-
was.
Go ahead.
And somebody died and turned to sand, and then they were stolen, and then it happened a lot more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's take a 5-minute break. Actually, let's make it a 7. We've been going for a little while, so that'll put us back at 9:08 by my time. Welcome back.
Hola.
Well, I hope that scratched your guys' itch for large monsters.
Yeah. I hope I didn't cause too much chaos.
Yeah, we came at it sideways, but it happened nonetheless.
So far, go ahead.
I think we have no shortage of large monsters. Redmond.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our teamwork thus far could use some work.
I almost feel like some keys need to be bought up before you guys can really mesh. It feels like there's some keys that just like oppose one another, which is really making for interesting fiction, but still.
Yeah, I was thinking of buying off my key of the Enigma by revealing some backstory and being, opening up a little more.
Mm-hmm.
That was one thing I was debating doing. Despite the fact that it's basically a free key every session, but that's the point. It should progress.
Yeah. The idea is to get your character to a point where they don't need that fix. That's how I mean, maybe that's a bad way to look at it. That's how I look at all the keys. Is like this is the drug that you got to take for your character to keep surviving. But
I see.
And what happens? What happens with the buy-off? You just pick a new one, or
yeah, basically you'll get 2 experience the time you buy it off, and then you replace it next session with a different key.
Okay.
All right. Now that we've got everybody back, let's kind of writer's room it for a minute. So you've got this new hook of going and helping the Zarutu by killing a rat dragon. You still have the kind of quest to drop off Alabab at Alameen. What are you guys thinking of doing?
How long is the travel to Alameen?
It'll be another, I think we're down to 5 days because you guys moved pretty quick the last day. So I think enough interesting things happened that if you guys want to go to Alameen, we'll just find you guys at Alameen.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah, let's drop him off.
Do we even know where the rat dragon hides?
We can say that she gave you some general directions.
Also, I think in the city we would probably pursue any leads about the sand dyeing people and the missing genealogies. If there are people that know things, we would hunt that down. So yeah, I think to the city.
Okay, cool. Let's do that. So enough time has passed. I don't know how many of you even took damage. We had so many good rolls, but you guys can heal up any damage that has been taken.
Can we level up?
Yeah, you guys will have had a relaxing rest. So if you've got a level to take, go ahead and take it right now.
Dreadwind's misses are where we get our enemies from. So you've had more than most of us on the missing department.
Yeah.
Those weren't even misses, though. Those were all my successes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Every single cast a spell in the session has been a success.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
No, it was totally intentional, except for the part where they mutated into devil creatures. That was totally not my idea. I totally support it, but it was not my.
Yeah, I will take the blame. All right, cool. So we find you guys on the approach to Alameen. Alabab is like extremely grateful. He's been feeding you guys this whole time. I think as you guys get to his steading where he lives, he probably will take you like through to the center of town. He's as close to the middle of town as you can be. As you guys enter, you see a stark difference between the few people like Alabab and the rest of the town. Like I said before, it's about 1,000 people, maybe a little less. And it's, I think I even have a picture of kind of what it looks like. Let me pull that up here. So that's kind of what the town looks like, just generally. These hills to the back are called the Red Hills. And this, compared to the rest of the fields of Alameen, is really the only safe place that exists. Safe as in not ravaged by bandits all the time. So I want to hear from each of you, kind of as you're going through the town, one thing that you see that distinguishes the rich from the poor, and how you can tell that the poor live on, hand in mouth. So whenever you have an idea, raise your hand and let's get that. Harry?
Well, this is probably the first time that Eula's been in a city, and seeing all of it for and very kind of disturbing to her. She sleeps out when there are tents available. But the thing that right off sets off Eula is someone who thinks is maybe riding on a camel, but as the obstructions, the carts out, and we can actually see it's a person riding in a litter carried by for other people, obviously servants, and that's an obvious distinction between the types. And she looks over at our friend and kind of does a double take, looking at his clothing compared to the clothing of the person on the litter. They're not quite the same, but they're a little bit similar.
Great. Go ahead, Ruben.
So as Dredwin's sort of walking by, he sort of hears there's one person walking by, clearly dressed in very well, very high value clothing, showy, and he notices someone is sneaking up behind them and pickpockets them. It's this little girl, and she runs back to this other man who's hiding in the back alley, sort of watching. And he looks at the little amount that she pickpocketed, angry, and just like slaps her across the face.
Well, we're not doing any violence against children here.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Slaps it out of her hand.
Cool.
Sorry, a little rough there.
That's all right. That's all right.
But sort of just like.
All right, Tyler, did you have one?
I have one. I think we passed by where they're like the wealthy eating probably, these elaborate meals out in the like lanais, these open areas. And as we see them eating, we could see beggars and these people who look just famished. And as the rich are eating their food, occasionally they'll just toss a piece over the wall to them. We see them scrabbling as the wealthy are placing bets on which one will come away with the bone or the husk of bread.
Oh, so they're even making a game out of it. That's good. Adam, did you have one that you want to add?
Yeah. So I think like throughout the city, there's little step shrines and then bigger temples and whatnot. And a lot of the richer people are like richly colored, painted with runes and whatnot just on their skin, like in deep, vibrant blues and almost like gold kind of shimmery paints. And then the other people, most people, just have either really, really faded ones that haven't been applied in like months or haven't been washed off, but it was the best they could get from like a blessing or something a while ago. Or they're like scratching them into themselves with like scarification. And so there's some open wounds that were infected and didn't do it right. And people are doing stuff for their friends or whatever in the streets and stuff like that. As if it's important that they have these kind of things on them, but they don't have the means to do it comfortably.
Awesome. Great. All right. So yeah, he takes you past all these sites and he comes to a house that's clearly got 2 stories, a small courtyard. When he says modest, he really believes that he lives modestly. He doesn't have a bunch of servants or slaves. He just has a courtyard and his little family and place for his camels. So Alabab really does believe that he's not that well off. Like he said, he's comfortable, and the baubles he brings home, his wife appreciates. So do you guys want to have a scene here meeting the family, or do you guys want to kind of just fast forward onto the next adventure stuff?
I'm personally not as interested, except in the networking opportunities to future leads. So I don't need to see it on screen.
Okay. So yeah, we'll say this. So like he's terribly grateful for what you guys did. He gives you each a purse with 50 coin, and he says, I know we had a deal that you would bring me back some money when you guys raid. You know what? Don't worry about it. We're even. We're more than even. I probably still owe you. And he'll tell you, I'm sure it comes up in conversation, that the reason that he is in the position he's in is because he's friends with Sheriff Taliesin. And I'll put that in the chat here. Now, Sheriff Taliesin is kind of like the sole... sorry. I'm trying to talk and paste at the same time. He's kind of the sole government authority in this town. He runs a very tight ship, is how it's described, and you get the impression he's kind of militaristic. It sounds like he's got some cronies, and what they say is what happens, because if it doesn't happen his way, people disappear in the night. So yeah, I think that's probably the stuff that would come up naturally is Alabab send you guys on your way with great thanks.
I do not like this city, Tiger Blood. These people do not take care of their charges. A true noble watches over their people. These are just swamp lords.
But maybe the those cast out are not their people. And since when have you sought to want to be a true noble?
I can observe when someone is not doing their obligations. This place stinks.
Yes, it's injustice, but it is the world.
Actually, I think it smells quite nice.
I have no use for these coins, so I'll slip out in the night and distribute them among random people.
Cool. I like that. So are you guys planning on staying here in town then, it sounds like, if he's going to be sneaking around at night?
I mean, we're probably like a night or two. I don't think we're not planning on staying any length, are we?
I have a great idea. Millie, you should befriend these nobles and then find out what they know about the genealogies that are missing.
It's possible they may know something, and that could be useful to us. I hate the thought of dealing with these nobles, but...
Oh, just go kiss up.
Well, this is the town that had the guy that turned to sand, right?
Yep. It was abandoned.
So here,
yeah, someone should look into that.
Look at the scene of the crime.
Oh, yeah. So, Dreadwin, could we take... Dreadwin, would you like to go to the execution spot and perhaps see if there's another happening anytime soon? I suppose that would be up to the sheriff and all that.
We would kind of need to figure out what the pattern is for these people turning to dust. I have my doubts about it happening in the same spot over and over again. The closest thing I could find is maybe some residual magic, but chances are it's long gone considering we've been traveling for days and days and days.
True.
Isn't it supposed to happen near to where it happened originally or something like that? Isn't there a Haitian base? Since it happened here, it seems like it would be happening again somewhere near
Actually,
here if it were to happen again.
You have a good point, Eula, because Ganji did say that it was happening more and more frequently. So if enough people were to die, one of them would, in this place would be bound to have that happen to them by this point in time. And then we can investigate that.
Cool. So it sounds like you guys are going to look around for stories of somebody else dying in the town and possibly turning into sand.
Yeah, or in the vicinity if it's seeming more common elsewhere, like north or west or east or whatever.
Sure. Let's get, I think this will be a charisma, defy danger on charisma, and whoever wants to take the lead on that is fine. It sounds like you guys are all doing it as a whole group, so.
And I think I'll probably follow Tiger Blood's suggestion and at least go amongst the nobles here to see if they know anything about these tombs and show them the medallion.
Okay.
Or whoever's the most learned in this town.
So is anybody else going with Millie, or are the rest of you looking for the other trail, the trail of the sand deaths?
I think the rest of us don't really fit that crowd. So we'll probably leave her to her own charms. Is that okay? Okay, cool. Yeah. So we three will go, and I can roll it, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to be less intimidating than commanding. Oh, that's a 13. So trying to be a little kind, not so much the dominating, fight me or do what I say.
I think the rumors and the whispers that you'll hear are going to take you to the black market of the town. So we'll find the three of you down in the black market in a few moments. Let's take a look at Millie and her courting with the nobles. Are you going to be throwing around Alabab's name, or what's the plan here?
I think I'm going to be throwing around my own title, my position of nobility.
Yeah, because certainly they would have heard of Eelton, and if they know about Eelton, then they know of your house. Cool. That sounds probably like charisma still, so why don't you give us a charisma roll? See what you find.
Ooh. Well, I got a 12.
Sweet. All right, let's actually have. Let's see Lady Camille. We see her talking to some people who are kind of finely dressed near the town center, and then they point you on to this person, who points you on to that person, and finally you find yourself in front of the largest building in town. It's almost like a citadel. It's not like massive, but it is definitely a fortified building. And the guards there, when you say your name, they open the doors and they say, "Yes, the sheriff is available. You must wait here. He'll attend to you momentarily."
Thank you very much.
And then doors close behind you. And let's get your first impression of Sheriff Taliesin. What ridiculous item of clothing does he wear to show his power?
Oh, it's got to be a huge codpiece. I mean, nothing says toxic masculinity like a really big old elk horn sort of codpiece.
I love it. And he's got like those, the tight pants that don't go like the capri kind of length pants. Big old codpiece, a shiny breastplate, and like a rapier or something at his side. And he enters the room, and like the person who's there helping you kind of whispers like, "Bow, bow, now's the time to bow." I assume you do so?
I will give a kind of as equals, but I'm in your house bow.
Sure. So not all the way down. But yeah, he'll accept it, and he sits it. on his massive throne, legs like splayed up, like, I don't know if you can see my positioning, like up like this, you know.
Got the full man spread going.
Showing off this codpiece, and he says, "Milady, it's a long time since we've had visitors from Eelton, and such a noble house as yours. What brings you today?"
I'm just traveling through your lovely town, and I thought it only appropriate that I at least drop in, say hello, and give greetings from my family. I will admit, we encountered raiders on our travels here. Horrible sorts.
Yes, definitely, and so disgusting. I'm sure you felt the same. I hope they didn't give you too much trouble. You look like a fine fighter yourself.
We handled it, of course, but I discovered something unusual on one of them, and as it turns out, it fell into a field of study that I have been taking an interest in.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. And he snaps his fingers, and somebody brings out a tray of food. He's starting to eat as you're talking.
Doesn't offer me any.
No, no.
I will politely ignore that and hold up the medallion. The crest of, well, the faithful Prince Eli.
Yes, yes. And the servant kind of snatches it from your hands and brings it up to him. Ooh, Eli, terrible sort. I mean, the guy he just ruled with an iron fist, and he just can't treat people like animals. You know what I mean.
Of course, Lord Sheriff. Clearly one of the most vile sorts of people imaginable.
You know, interesting thing, and it's entirely true. I'm a descendant of Eli myself.
Really?
It goes back 13 generations. And if I picked up any of his more admirable qualities, I'd be happy.
Well, I see a great deal of him in you, Lord Sheriff.
Let's hard cut there to the other group. I'm loving that. All right, so the rest of you end up down in this kind of black market, and people are very skittish, especially of newcomers, and so some people even like go inside and they close up shop, wrap up their blankets real quick as you guys are coming by. There's one man there, and let me double check. I think he's got a name. There's one man there that catches your eye immediately. He doesn't flinch at all. He doesn't care that you guys are there. And sitting around him is a group of children, and he's finishing what sounds like a fairy tale with them. And you just hear the closing line, and he says, "And turn them all to stone." And the children are all amazed. What's your plan? You've heard that this is where the happenings are going on, is down here. Who are you going to get to talk to, and how are you going to open them up to you?
Rukao has the highest charisma, but Adam does not, so I don't really know.
Okay.
I don't know about talking to people, but
Go ahead.
I'm imagining sort of these very close, difficult to navigate alleys. So maybe I've got Dreadwin's hand helping lead him through, so he doesn't. And I'm looking to see. I'm almost expecting your eyes to start glowing as knowledge pours out and you sense mystical things.
Oh yeah, does Dreadwin get any kind of feeling?
As a matter of fact, he does have his racial move, which lets him sense any magical effects close by. So if that is what you're referring to, then
let's pull on that thread. Yeah, you do get a sudden sense of a magical happening, and it's strong, it's dark, it's painful. You're probably familiar with that strain of magic in particular. And if you will follow it, you'll enter a house where a woman is laying there, very old, very frail, and looks like she's going to die any moment. Like sweat, no color in her face, her hands are trembling.
Mm-hmm.
Do you say anything as you enter the room?
I enter sort of somberly and look to the others, sort of implying if they have anything to say.
And then you hear her family. They're kind of like dabbing her. She got the fever 3 days ago. I don't know what did it. I mean, she hasn't been eating anything strange. Nobody else has the bug.
It's more than a fever.
And the man, it kind of appears to be maybe a son or an older grandson, looks to you and say, "What are you doing here? Who are you? What do you want?"
He looks down towards the woman and says, "There's a dark presence around her. She will not make it."
I get the inclination to trust you. You seem to know about the darkness. Can you do anything about it? Can you help her?
If what I suspect is about to happen, then I know not of anyone who can help her. We can only watch in horror.
You are so creepy.
In horror. Yeah.
Yeah, I think let's just have it then. We're gonna see this woman die, and she kind of like stutters. "I love you," she says to her son as she takes her last breath, and then it's at the moment of the last breath exiting, just sand, and then the sand kind of fades. What the hell? What did you do? He grabs like a pitchfork or some kind of peasant implement off the wall. He starts like charging. Maybe he even pins you up against the wall if you don't resist, and like really furious with you, Dreadwind. What did you do? How did you know? What's going on?
We've gotten word about...
Eula is convinced that there's a spirit in the room with us. So she's got her spear out, and she's stalking around looking for this invisible thing that isn't there.
Actually, to that matter, what about the dark presence? Is it like moving? Is it like moving elsewhere? Or did it just dissipate?
Yeah, the magic that you were sensing is gone as soon as the sand disappeared from the room.
I simply say, "'Twas a curse, it was not my doing. I merely followed the evil here."
Well then, get out and take your freak of a friend too. He's gonna shove you out the door.
Yeah, Derwin's not fighting this. He sort of stumbled out, sort of pats down himself, checks his books.
Eula, are you following, or are you gonna cause trouble?
Where is it? Where is it? Pedwin, help me find the thing.
There is no magic left in there, is it? He simply says, like sort of raising his voice so that people inside can hear. There is no magic left in there. As I said, it's a curse, not a spirit. It's not wandering around in there as it escapes your body. No, it's not like that.
And as you guys are shoved out into the alleyway, you see this old man again. No children nearby. He's still sitting on the same little stoop, and he speaks I think he'll probably address Tiger Blood, Rukau, specifically. And he says, I know what you're here for. I've seen them. And he taps on this eye that's got a scar across it. Come closer. And let's cut back over to our other scene real quick. All right. So he's examined the thing. He's bragged, and he says, "And you found this in the possession of one of the bandits, one of the savages."
Yes, and an elf who, because they are elves, right?
Yeah.
An elf who, honestly, also claimed to have Eli in her lineage.
Slams the knife into what he's eating, and he says, "Those pigs, they don't have any lineage to Eli. Look at me. Am I elf? Do I have pointy ears like those freaks? No. Eli was a man, just like me."
Before we disposed of them, one of them mentioned scrolls of genealogy. Perhaps that would even bring some great recognition for you, Sheriff. You know, having such proof would elevate you into being one of the greatest nobles in all of these lands.
It sounds like you're going for a parlay here. What's the desired effect?
My hope is that he'll either, if he knows anything about these genealogies, where they might be kept, or like the tomb, he will open up and tell me. I'm hoping maybe there's a family legend of where the tomb lies.
Sure.
But other than that, it's, maybe he'll help out.
Yeah.
He's an ass, but that's fine.
Let's get your roll.
All right. Oof. That's a 6.
Oh no. So he's buying what you're putting down. Yes, this would make me. Oh, I like the way you think. You know what? I think you and I think we're gonna have a good time tonight. Why don't you meet me in the top room about 8 o'clock, and we'll discuss this further.
Oh, buddy. Of course, Lord Sheriff, I would be very interested to discuss this in a more private situation.
Certainly. And he like kind of brushes you away, and the attendant, gives you the directions and the key you'll need and all the information to be in his chambers tonight at 8 p.m. I think we've got time to kind of wrap up this black market scene. So let's do that. So this wizened old man with the one eye claims to have seen what you're seeking. What do you guys all want to do about it?
When he points at his eye, I'll look at Dreadwin and his eyes, and then at Eula and think about her oracle and how these eyes are a theme and some kind of symbolism or something. I don't know. And he's holding his helmet under his arm because he was respectfully observing a death. So he'll, I don't know, squat down by the guy. Is he sitting on the ground?
Yeah, he's kind of like on a little stool or a bucket.
Yeah, so he'll put his helmet down and sit on it and say, "Impress us. What are we seeking?" And he'll kind of challenge him.
The form came to me. 2 days passed. Where were you 2 days ago? Nope. I know. You were with the Zarutu. And you, pointing at Dreadwin, you deformed their beast. But it came to me, a clay man, or at least a clay face, his mouth not moving. But he spoke to me and he said, "Time has come." And I said, "For what?" He said, "You know not? It has been laid out plain before you." And then I remembered every moment of my life when the sand spoke to me. Eli is returning.
Yeah. Are you happy about that? Seems to be kind of like a cursed existence.
What is happy except in this moment? I am happy here now, speaking with you. If I look to the past or to the future, I find myself happy anywhere.
You got a talent. I'll flick him a coin in his little whatever. If he's got anything there.
It probably snatches it like midair.
Okay.
Very
Yeah.
quickly.
Redmond looks at him and asks, "Do you wish for the happiness of others then?"
I wish only for the presence of mind to question if you truly are happy. Dreadwin, are you truly happy?
You ask me? I think I will be more happy upon my deathbed than my life.
Why wait for then?
Because I'm building up to that moment.
Mm.
Every moment.
And that's the illusion you live under. Happiness is here, and here, and here. And as each moment passes, you choose happiness or misery.
The choice is no longer mine.
We'll find our own happiness, but what we really seek is where Eli might be returning.
Well, to the tomb he was encased in.
And you
guys-
know it?
Parts, are you?
No. Yes. No. In some manners, yes. In some manners, no. You know it?
The tomb has been lost for centuries, but there are those who can find it. The Zaruk to guard it. There's a reason that they stick to the northern lands. They could have conquered us several times, but they never come to the cities. They never stay. Sorry, you cut out.
Under her breath, they don't come to the cities because they wouldn't be welcome.
If you look over to the man, his eye is just like seeing right through you at this moment, and he says, "And what do you find in this moment, Yuri?"
In this moment, I find I'm uncomfortable in this city, in this too many people.
Is it true? Are there too many?
How do you
Or is it just...
How do you stay in this?
Okay, so you asked...
I look up at the sky. To me, it's too many. Give me the open air.
And as you ask, so it comes. And there's kind of a soft wind that blows through. And he gets up and just starts walking away from you. Remember, Dreadwin, in this moment, and the rest of you, good luck. Anything to say as he parts your company?
I feel like we should have asked what his name was. Rukal will observe.
Yeah. So Dreadwin's just gonna, without looking back, he says, "You know what we are. You know what we are. So who are you?"
Yeah, I think that gets his interest enough. He turns around. A true name is a precious thing. That is the one lesson you haven't learned. Not from your angel, not from your beasts, not from your abominations. I am what you say I am, and you are what I say you are. But is what I say and what you say the same? Again, in this moment. And he walks away. All right, let's call it there for the night, as if that wasn't confusing and weird enough. All right, we'll do end of session. I had a blast. That was really fun, guys. Thank you so much. We'll start with our party experience. So, did we loot a valuable treasure?
I don't think so. The medallion probably doesn't count.
I mean, does it count as looting to get paid
so.
a lot?
Yeah, I think loot is very general. Did you obtain?
Yeah, because we did get paid a lot, relatively.
Yeah. So you guys think making 200 gold is worth it? Worth counting?
I think the medallion is worthwhile because it is a heritage treasure more than anything.
Yeah.
It's not just like a paper with things written on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a one of a kind item.
It may have some uses coming up forward. You know, it's certainly been playing into the story a bit.
Cool. Yeah. I think the medallion definitely counts. All right. Did we defeat a notable foe?
Yes. Yes, for
She's
sure.
pretty notable.
Yeah. I think especially since you guys decided to know that we would writer's room and let her live, I think she proved she was a notable foe for sure.
Especially with that fighting dirty.
Yeah.
And did we learn something new and interesting about the world?
We definitely seem to do that.
Sure. Cool. All right, let's run through each of your keys if you guys want to take a look at them. We'll start with Tyler and just holler out any keys that you turned, and if anybody helped you, give it out to them too.
I don't know. My key of the noble. I feel like I was playing on it, but I'm not sure if I suffered pain rather than an indignity or refused an order. Maybe a bit of where Tiger Blood convinced me to go deal with these nobles. I felt they were beneath me. Just hanging out with them, going to see this odious sheriff. All of these seemed like enduring something to, still maintain my much more noble sound feel. That seemed good.
Yeah, I like that.
So one for me and Tiger.
Put that up. So.
Not of the key of the lover, though. I think I'm going to hit that again next time. But I definitely feel like I hit the key of the reckless, and I would say that could be any number of you guys that help with that. I could see that there was where Eula, put me into position with that with her to jumping in. Dreadwind certainly brought terrible dangers that ended up me having to avoid and run underneath the feet of. Who feels like they kind of helped with that most? Any thoughts? I think my most daring do was underneath the feats of the beast that Dreadwood pulled up. So I think I'll say that's probably Dreadwood that helped me with that one.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right.
And do we feel like, did you say that we have enough time to kind of downtime here in this village? Because I popped up during the adventure.
Yeah, you guys said that you were going to stay a couple of nights. I don't know if, since you've got that meeting tonight, I think if you take that meeting tonight, maybe not. But if you're going to skip that somehow, then we'll have you level up at the beginning of next session.
Ugh. Boy, I want to
Did you
level
have
up.
the experience before when we camped?
Not on the road. I had it once we got into town and were hanging out with his family.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
There you go.
All right. Oh, and I'll remind you guys, you can get 2 experience for turning your own keys and 2 experience for helping out. So just keep that in mind.
Per session, right?
Yeah, per session.
Got it.
So Dreadwin, why don't you do your keys next?
All right, so I would say Key of the Enigma, which is when when your mysterious nature calls you a friend or an ally. Yeah, I think on multiple occasions that kind of happened. And I'm not sure who to give that to because it just went everywhere. Like, it just was everywhere. But if I had to choose someone, I would say Rukao, because he was the one that tried to defend the princess from my first abomination. Before the others even became a dangerous factor, he decided to take it upon himself to face that one.
Okay. So you're thinking that since he took the brunt of that, and he took the bullhorns to the head too, so
Yeah.
the shield. So yeah, that makes sense to me.
Okay.
How about Meddler or Overlord?
I would say causing terror among a group of innocents, considering that we're talking about changing one of the bandits into a giant organ-wearing skeleton, and having the others try to fight their former comrade.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I think you also forced the princess to respect your magical prowess.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if respect is the right word, but we can go with that.
Loathe your existence.
Pretty much.
Cool. Eula.
All right. I think I acted strangely in a couple of ways.
With the spirit.
What was that? Say again?
Oh, with the spirit at the end?
Well, I tried to hunt the spirit, but there wasn't anything to hunt. But I don't.
I think the beginning.
We had enough tenacious. Say again?
I was going to say at the beginning when you were talking about the flying monkey, that was definitely expressing your beliefs and traditions in a way that I liked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was good. I don't think we had enough stuff that required tenaciousness, so I didn't do that. So I think just the Key of the Stranger.
You don't think you got the hunter with when we had the vision and you seeing across there and all of that? With the fire vision, I would think that would have been tracking right to seeing you saw the oracle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but you did that. That was all you
Maybe
doing.
I helped you do that.
Yeah. That just means that she was in you turning the key, so she gets experience too. Yeah, I think
okay, all right, I'll take that.
Yeah. All right, Rukao.
I think I was giving a lot of advice, but none of it really paid off, but it was still fun. I would say facing the abomination might be an equal in combat, and trying to face the princess also with Ali Bob at stake more than myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that counts for contender. And then expansionist, I was enjoying encouraging everybody to be bigger than they currently were, especially the princess, and like be ruling better, ruling more, and even Dreadwin too, making him want to make a herd of monsters that he could control. That's what I see as encouraging them to exceed their limits.
Cool.
So I would do Expansionist with Dreadwin,
Okay.
because he keeps inspiring that. And then I'm not sure if the others helped.
I mean, if you're going to take fighting that monster, then I think for contender, I think Dreadwin would be the key there too.
Oh, yep.
Awesome. Well, let's shut off the cameras, and if you guys have a few seconds, we'll do some Roses and Thorns as well.